Moan, you ready to suit up?
Oh, man. You sound like my people down here in Nashville, DK. The answer, let me think about it for a second. No. Yeah, man.
You got a bell there, and then we can talk about why I would have asked you that.
Yes, absolutely. And should I say it now or say it after the break?
Oh, I would be after the break. Definitely after the break.
Y'all ready to roll? Let's rock, man, on this day.
So Isaac Seumalo was injured today at practice, a pec issue. Apparently, it's not as serious as initially feared, but he's still going to miss some time, obviously. This is the Ramon Foster Show. It's the 499th episode.
So close.
I know, right? Of the Ramon Show. He's Ramon. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. And Moan, Isaac, he just showed his value in the Detroit game with that massive block. On Cordero Patterson's touchdown.
Move the man, DK, is what he did.
Tell me first about a pec injury for a guard.
Pec injury right here in the chest area, the big muscle that guys flex like Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do back in the day is that muscle, okay? That's the reason why I started lifting weights, DK. I'm telling you right there, I wanted to be able to do that right there, little flex right there. Yeah. But with that being said, it's a crucial muscle for what we do. We push and we pull. That muscle is all in that, man. And not just that, the pain contributed to it being hurt and how often it would get hit and why it's important that whatever the injury was, as far as the severity of it, it wasn't season ending. So there's the ability for it to heal over time. Now, here's the thing about it too. How much time does it take for a guy at his age as far as the recovery? And if it's not fully torn and it's, strained, a strain still is tears of the muscle fibers. Also, I know we got some doctors in here and stuff like that may correct me on it, but it does have to re-heal and regenerate and stuff like that. This is one of those things where if it's severe but not torn fully, how long of a process? And the other side too, DK, is how much strength will he lose in that pec muscle?
And how does that affect you?
Oh my! I mean, it's to lose one. I mean, to have pain, but also lose strength in it. It can be significant, DK. But again, I don't know how deep it is as far as this injury, but it is significant. But that's why you look at Spencer Anderson and say, "I'm glad you showed your worth this preseason."
Yeah, I mean, that's the next step, is figuring out who's going to take his place. I mean, Spencer Anderson is obviously there in the equation. Mason McCormick has shown well at pretty much every position, although he'd been primarily at right guard. It's not ideal.
Can I say something too? Two things I need to say. Two things I need to say. One, it is hump day. Can't forget that. Cannot forget that. Okay. Secondly, is this, DK? You may be, a little bit worried, and it's not ideal for you because you're a realist about this process of being in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But DK, for the last 2 weeks, we have been speaking to this crowd and just in general about put the young guys in. Let us see what the future's gonna. So we shouldn't be worried about this, DK, is what I'm telling you. And that also shows us how we're prisoners of the moment too. In the last couple of weeks and this week, DK, to me has been this. We've been saying you drop those young guys in probably one by one is what we've been saying. And now we're at a point where we somewhat have lost Isaac for a few weeks. And the conversation is, I don't feel comfortable anymore. Well, that's what we've been saying the entire time. Is like, you got to give this group time. This group has to have some type of veteran leadership as it pertains to the level of play that we expect out of it. So for me, yes, losing Isaac is not ideal. It's not something I feel comfortable going into the season with. I know Spencer's been around for a couple of years, but here's the thing behind it. The NFL is a must-show-me type of league, and it ain't much that Spencer has shown us. But it sucks for Isaac at the same time, though, DK, because, again, at his age, injuries are hard to come back from more times than not.
I'm going to challenge you here. You can see you can see when I have my challenge face.
I saw that. I saw your red flag out of your pocket, man.
Because you, sir, can't have it both ways. you can't say, oh no, can't go with an, you knew what I was going to do here. Can't go with an all young line. All young line is bad. It's going to take several weeks to get together. And then say, all right, well, losing Isaac means let somebody next man up or whatever. You're going to have a line here, as Steelers Love points out here. It's actually a great comment. Isaac out with the pec. Broderick Jones has the elbow injury. Troy Fautanu's coming back from the knee injury, but they're all children except for James Daniels. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you go either way with this? Can you say, listen, hey, all the young guys look at each other, eyeball each other, and say, this is us now. This is us. Do you follow me?
I do.
You lived it. I didn't. So my opinion isn't worth one billionth of yours on this, but I just feel like there's something they could do if they come together.
So I like a slow show like this where we can really parse things through. Okay. I like being able to talk it through on this one, DK, because here's the thing. Like, yes, they can say, look, all right, old head, get the heck out of the room. It's on us now. They can do that with the exception of James Daniels, as you mentioned. But here's the thing about it, DK. Us saying that in 2012, 2013 was we still had veteran dudes on the team. You still had 7 that was proven that he could, DK, I hate to even say it like this, but take a lick and keep on moving. Russ ain't built like that. Okay. You're also in a position where you have a new offensive coordinator that's trying to figure out what his bread and butter plays are going to be. Okay, you're without Jaylen Warren. I'm not sure for how long. DK, I feel like he may be back before the season starts or soon after too.
He will.
And then the weapons too. I love the talent, but I don't know what the weapons actually are. Can you understand me when I say that?
I can.
Yes, because again, when we look at Roman Wilson, what is Roman Wilson? At least we had guys who were somewhat proven at the time that could make plays for us. Emmanuel had already made plays. And not just that. Like, I love what George Pickens is, but we only got one of him right now because what is Roman? Right? Who are your other wide receivers that you can just say, bank on, I know plays are going to be made? And for that matter, too, DK, is Russ comfortable with the guys that he have that's going to make plays, too? He was named starter today not too long ago by Coach Tomlin. We already knew that, too. But to your point, back to your original point about a young offensive line saying, hey, screw it. It's on us. Yes, you can do that, DK, but that doggone experience, that leadership of knowing, because we're down by 10 points going into the third, doesn't mean that we've lost a game. That's where having guys that have been battle tested, other than Dan Moore on that line right now, and James Daniels for a little bit of his time here in Pittsburgh, nobody can look each other in the eyes, DK, unless we just, hey, look, all right, this is trial by fire and we got to grow up. I don't know if that group is there just yet. And yes, the only way to do that is to get through it. They can honestly, and it may be the best for this team moving forward, they can say, screw it, we're running with the young guys. But do you know what else happens at that point, DK? What does the game of Russell Wilson look like? What if Russ goes out there and gets hurt because of that line? I witnessed a team down here in Nashville that had 2 quarterbacks last year with a very unstable offensive line, and the Tennessee Titans lose Ryan Tannehill and then also get the rookie Will Levis hurt too with a bad ankle injury. And it's not going to be easy for the Steelers this year. If I'm not mistaken, they got a tough schedule.
Certainly the second half, yeah.
Are you comfortable with that? That's the only thing. And here's the thing what Coach T say. Don't seek comfort. I'm okay with that, but when you don't seek comfort and knowing that you got a steady Eddie or a couple of steady guys on the offensive line, people get fired, DK.
When we come back, we're going to get to the only segment that matters, and I've got some other thoughts as it relates to this offensive line that we're going to open that segment with here. But, yeah, the next segment is the only one that actually matters.
And that's, hey, Mon, you got me going.
I did. I'm not done either.
Okay.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Oh, boy. So, for anybody who came late, Isaac Seumalo was hurt today at practice, a pec injury. It's not a severe tear. I mean, we're not going to sit here and play doctor off something.
Right.
They can't even do that until the swelling goes down. But it's seen as not being, super serious, season ending or anything like that. But there's no question he's going to miss some time. I'm gonna admit something to you.
What you got for me?
There's a part of me that likes the idea, whether it's Spencer Anderson or Mason McCormick, of getting them on the field. And here's why. They've both performed not only well, they've performed with some attitude. Okay. When you watch them block, they've got some of that junkyard dog that you had.
I love that.
Okay. I know you do. That's why I'm bringing it up. You had this thing about you where you weren't necessarily, flying to your left or flying to your right.
Right.
But you took care of the assignment that was in front of you with gusto.
Yeah.
And I see that in both of these individuals. So regardless of whichever way the team goes, I'm telling you, just some of the better plays this team ran this preseason, and then Latrobe ran behind McCormick. I know everybody keeps saying Spence, and maybe it is going to be Spence, but I don't know, Moan.
Can I push back a little bit?
I hope it's your show.
I like a little dialogue with you, DK. I love the dialogue with my dog, okay? Here's the thing, though, DK. Yes, Mason McCormick has done what you asked and needed him to, but there's three, though, DK. There's three. There's 3 different seasons. Preseason ball, I think Kenny Pickett taught us a lot last year. Then there's regular season ball, too, to where coaches start the game plan and scheme. And then, of course, there's always the postseason. It is just different in the postseason. The locker room is too. And I'm not crapping on your point or anything like that. But again, it comes down to war-ready type of events. And if there's a lot of moxie in Mason McCormick and Spencer Anderson, I'm not opposed to any one of those things right there, DK. But we're talking about a very veteran quarterback with some age on himself also, and trusting some young pups to protect him in an offense that they all are adjusting to is my only pushback. Now, here's the other thing, though, too. Here's a team that kept 3.5 tight ends. So the help is there.
Yes, it is.
It's very much there. And I've seen Arthur Smith run a tight end-led receiving offense. Receiving. What is receiving?
I'll take it.
Words, right? Words. English, we get it. But here's the thing. I've seen him run that down here in Nashville and did really well with it, too, on the back of running backs, too. And that's something that he does have. Am I comfortable with it, DK? No. With where the NFL is, for the most part right now, I'm not overly confident in it, but I've seen it work. And that's my only pushback for throwing young pups out there that don't have the experience of knowing that being down by 10 going into the fourth ain't a loss. Or you're going to get picked on, Mason McCormick, because you're from a smaller school and you're a rookie and I got to have a bite out of you. Is that side of it?
They're coming at whoever it is, Moan.
They can't wait.
The Falcons just said, oh, boy.
Oh, my. You know what I'm saying? And it's on the road, right? Yeah.
It's on the road.
So, again, to that same point.
Well, there's been a lot of noise, but mostly Steelers fans.
Steelers fan, yeah. And we don't know how to be quiet on the road. We're trying to take advantage of it. But here's the other thing, though, too, DK. We got to take the walking shoes off of them at some point, right? We got to take the crutches, and they got to grow. But again, somebody said a second ago, I think I started, DK. Well, I like a little comfort, is what they said. Stephen A said this. I wouldn't mind a little bit of comfort. Coach T is crazy. Like, there's that side of it too, that we're talking about our football team. That determines a lot of our emotions the following week. Can you stomach watching these guys grow up knowing that there's a bigger plan? And more times than not, a lot of people won't. That's just my opinion.
I got a couple of questions here that are pretty good, but I have one myself first.
Let's go.
And I have to do it properly. So I'm going to say, Moan.
Going through puberty now. I see you, DK.
Hey, Moan, if you were Arthur Smith, does this affect your game planning for Atlanta? In other words, do you say, listen, I got a bunch of kids here. I know they can run block because all that means is throwing the bone in front of them. I don't know that they can pass block. Does it affect anything that you do if you're Smith?
It don't, because here's the thing about his offense. It is what it is. And he has a pound and ground type of offense. He don't get away from it. It is they beat you up, DK. And to your point, best way for a young fella to grow up on the offensive line is to really put them in a position where they can go forward and not backwards as often, meaning run the ball and run it well, DK. That to me is where I think youth is somewhat a part of their advantage, because I can admit, and my last year, Marquise's next to last year, and Al's next to last year in Pittsburgh. What I'm saying is this: I don't think our run game was as strong as it was 3 years prior, meaning that you get a little bit older, you use a little bit more finesse than you do brute, right?
Yes.
And that's why I think it's very advantageous for this young group to go and just try to beat people up as much as you can. It's now they have all the energy for they have the ability to move guys around. We saw it somewhat in the preseason, but again, it gets real, DK, when it's the regular season and wins and losses actually do matter, and we're not experimenting as much. And that goes into Russell Wilson at the line of scrimmage. How much can he determine what those guys are going to be able to do when it comes down to his audibles and checks at the line of scrimmage? Like, it's so many unknowns. It's why I'm talking like this. It's so many unknowns, DK. So, yeah, Arthur Smith lives this life. And that's where, to me, stay ahead of the chains is my only advice.
We're going to get started with the actual Hey Moan segment here. Rapid fire stuff. We got a lot of questions here. We're going to, not super elaborate, whatever, on our answers, but, we're going to give you everything that we got, especially with this one. You ready? Cool Ray says, Hey Moan, what is the chance that at the bye week, we're all going to be saying, thank goodness we had Dan Moore?
I think you say it now.
Say it now. I knew you were going to do that. I think you say it now.
Say it now, Cool Rays. Like, this is also why when it comes down to contracts and teams don't want to release guys, or, hey, you owe us the respect of knowing that you're supposed to honor your contract. This is Dan Moore. I'm glad they're honoring his and not shipping him off. And I think also as a fan base full of Steeler fans, there should be a Dan Moore appreciation there, because soon as you're ready to go, give him the golden boot, DK. There he is waving his hand.
And the thing that nobody wants to acknowledge in the Dan Moore discussion is that he's had a very good summer.
Crazy.
Okay? He's had a really good preseason.
Crazy.
It's not cool to talk about that because you got 2 first-round picks, and we always love the kids more.
We do.
We do.
You know who the most beloved person on most rosters? Backup quarterback. Yeah, I believe that on the current Steelers roster, not to change the subject, the most beloved person is your number 3 outside linebacker. Come on, man. Yeah, okay. Come on, man. Well, in that case, yes, you're 100% right. Herbig is who you're saying?
I am. Yeah. Okay, you watch the first set of downs the Falcons have in Atlanta that Alex Highsmith doesn't record a sack and a strip, like a strip fumble, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be calling for Nick. Where's Nick Herbig? Get Nick Herbig out there.
You know it, man. You know it, DK. So it's going to be super fascinating to watch how this unfolds for him this upcoming year. I'm selfishly rooting for him to have a Kevin Dotson type of season, to where somebody fall in love with him. Just because he hasn't warranted. So I think you just had up a comment a second ago. He's gotten a lot of hate for no particular reason other than the fact that you drafted guys behind him.
No question about that. Ryan Lytle says, Hey, Moan, should we be more concerned with the secondary as opposed to the wide receivers? Which one has you more worried? If either one. Really?
Wide receivers, yeah.
Okay.
In today's world, in the NFL, you got to have 2. And you got George Pickens and Roman Wilson. I'm sliding the heck out of Van Jefferson.
And he's had a nice summer too. And all he's done is work his rear end off. 300 balls a day out of the jugs machine at the one end zone at Chuck Noll Field. I'm willing to at least say, all right, if if the Steelers were to go ahead and acquire some big name guy, Van Jefferson's still going to have a role on this team. And by the way, so will Calvin Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% DK. And again, that's on me for sliding him and not giving him a fair shake. I just don't know what that's going to look like in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform with the style of ball that we play. And the same goes for Calvin Austin. Are we past the point of using him as a specialty piece to where he's running jets, or is he actually going to go deep this year, right? And what's the adjustment to Roman Wilson? Can he break down NFL coverages to where he knows?
He hasn't been on the field. Yeah, he's got to be on the field, and he hasn't been for a month.
It ain't doom and gloom. We just got caught, DK. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers got caught.
Exactly. Mark Grana says, hey, Moan, do you think that Justin Fields might be a better fit with a porous offensive line than Russell Wilson? He's more mobile, and no, I'm not trying to start up a quarterback issue. Yeah, he is.
Here's my thing about putting Fields in versus Russ. Russ will at least, I think, get rid of the ball for the most part. This preseason, we still saw Justin fling the ball like he was Uncle Rico on Napoleon Dynamite in the air, and I ain't okay with that.
3 times the ball didn't make it from the center to the quarterback's hands cleanly, and you can blame the centers all you want, but when it's the same quarterback, it's not a great look. And all 3 of those happened with Fields, and I am anything but a Fields basher here. Flash says that he wishes that Omar would just go ahead and pull the plug on Brandon Ayuk. Move on. Let's get to work. Is this a distraction mode? The players? I mean, what would be the benefit to that?
I got a little, just a smidge of detail as it pertains to Ayuk. Ayuk, from my understanding, is playing hardball a little bit too.
With
apparently, the 49ers. Apparently, he's in a position where an offer was there that he suggested, and they said no. And when he said no and they found the trade partner, it was of my understanding that he was more or less just like, well, I want to go there, and they didn't want to close it all the way out. And the other side of that was they actually came back to Ayuk with the actual original deal. And he's a guy from the folks I've talked to around him that once he make up his mind that he's going to be a grade A-hole to folks that somewhat done him over, it ain't much you can do to change his mentality or mind. And I think he's holding them handcuffed because he can.
Is he, though? See, okay, and I don't want to turn this into a 49ers show here or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the 49ers are they're in the position that the Steelers were in with Lev, which is you don't want to play, don't play. You're not holding us hostage. You're missing a year of your career and you're messing with whatever. How many years do running backs and wide receivers have? I mean, there is 2 edges to this.
There is. And here's the other part of it too. They've allowed him to go find a trade. He did. And for some reason, him and his camp are just sitting on it.
Exactly.
And I was told, if you go back and look at some of his teammates' interviews of him in the sense of like being bullheaded might be the term that you can use for a guy like him. Like his teammates vocally kind of allude to the fact, you don't want to go on his bad side. And I heard he's a great teammate, but like he's very, I don't want to call him emotional, but he's very pointed in how he goes about his business.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. We dealt with plenty enough people like that. Stephen A says, if it was your choice, Moan, you start Mason McCormick or Spencer Anderson.
Anderson gets the first.
You go with the experience,
first stab is where it's at. Is him
because of the experience.
Because of the experience, and then the payoff has Mason McCormick outplayed Spencer Anderson, or we just happy because Spencer Anderson's a young, gritty, young guy. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's that side of it, too. Spencer's played well this preseason, so I'm not opposed to it being either or. If you told me Mason McCormick win, DK, I'd go like this. Okay. All right. Like, I wouldn't bat an eye at it, but I'd also look and say, well, Spencer's earned his keep on that one.
Yeah, Donch wants to know if what you're referring to means that Ayuk would be some kind of locker room problem. You can have jerks who are great teammates, right?
Yeah, no, he ain't no locker room problem. He's sticking it to the ownership right now. It's like I told y'all what the deal that I wanted, and the fact that you won't give it to me. What, now you want to come back and give it to me? Well, I'll sit on my thumbs for a little, or twirl my thumbs for a little while is what he's doing. So I think the deal gets done, whether it's in San Francisco, where are they at? Right, Santa Clara. Well, they're in
Santa Clara, California. Yeah. Do not call that place San Francisco. Yeah. I might as well be in San Francisco right now for how close the 49ers are to that city. It's unbelievable. I'm sorry. It's just
go ahead.
once you've made that drive, and I have, you're like, you just keep going. Like, we left San Francisco an hour ago.
Yeah,
Where aren't we here?
Yeah, we did, man. It was so far away. Like, guys had to like make it a point to go see the Golden Gate Bridge. Like, and that's all you had time for. You was that far
you
back.
have to take a tour to go to San Francisco from where the Niners are.
Absolutely, man. No, I don't think he's a locker room problem. I heard he's a dude that is, really, really solid in his approach to being a great teammate. It's just that if you go to the other side, like, there's no coming back for him until he's ready for you to come back. And again, John Lynch has done everything you've asked him to. It's just that when they were ready to move, they weren't ready to move.
Moan is the money man, as we all know. And Eric Shulo says, hey, Moan, any expected Steelers extensions before we play the Falcons?
Do we have to? That's the answer.
Cam Hayward spoke about this today. He said there's been nothing new on his front. I know for a fact there's been nothing new on the Pat Freiermuth front. Definitely nothing new on the Najee Harris front. And I can't really think of another name to throw into that mix. So
that's it.
I've been putting forth for a while now that the Steelers are first waiting to see what happens with the external wide receiver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you bring in Ayuk, you're doing all kinds of restructures and all kinds of gymnastics to make sure you can fit him in.
He's handcuffed a lot in this hurry up and wait process that he has going on right now. Cam is probably first. Well, Cam or Pat? Cam or Pat first. I probably go Pat first and Cam. Here's the thing too. How many times have we seen opening week, DK? I saw Troy sign his contract. We got on the bus and went and played a game. Like, they will do it the Saturday before 4 o'clock Eastern in Pittsburgh. Deals get done then also. So I'm not out on something happening. We got the rest of this week and we got all of next week to finish deals. But it all pertains to, as DK alluded to, Brandon Ayuk.
That's true. Yeah, that's how this is going to play out, whether it's Ayuk or just Ayuk in quotes, meaning somebody else who's in not necessarily of the same level. I mean, Ayuk's really, really good.
All the folks.
But somebody else. Yeah, Rico comes in with a question and a $20 contribution. That's appreciated on both fronts. Says, hey, Moan, don't you think the Steelers are going to pick up another wide receiver, maybe Noah Brown, et cetera, given the fact that there are only 5 on the roster? I just want to jump in with one thing here. Initial 53-man doesn't mean what it used to in the NFL. You're going to see a lot of changes between now and Atlanta on that roster. So don't take two. Like, they only have 3 OLBs listed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, DeMarvin Leal can be categorized as one now, but it's going to change.
Yeah, and the other thing is we're talking about Noah Brown because he left a place where there was a log jam in Houston. Like, the thing about Noah Brown was last year in Houston, 55 targets. So the volume of his suggests that he's a number 3 or so, right?
He's just a guy.
Yeah, it's just.
But that's what's happening now. Is every single time a wide receiver, even the ones that are just getting dumped or cut, everyone goes, "Oh yeah, how about him? He's better than we don't know that. Yeah. We don't know that. We haven't laid eyes on Robin Wilson. Everyone was super stoked about this kid when he was drafted. Now that he's not visible, it's like, doesn't even exist.
I still am a little bit. I just don't know what is he going to hit the ground running like Puka Nacua or something, right?
Well, that was the comparison point, at least, I mean, within reason. That was who they were likening him to because he's a later pick, more of a possession guy, has some dynamics to his game. That's
Can I give you one that's a little wild off the edge? If you don't mind?
Go ahead.
Jackson, man. Rico, appreciate that, man, by the way, too. But it comes from Jackson. Jackson says, hey, Mo, are they saving cap space for Dak next year? I don't love the idea, but they sure are saving money.
They are. I don't know if it's for Dak Prescott. If you look at the way the Cowboys have done business, they basically keep their guys to a fault.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they'll just pay and pay and pay because it's the Cowboys' way. Never mind that the Cowboys are subject to the same salary cap as everybody else.
And Jerry's on the timer, okay, as far as trying to see a championship. So them getting Dak, I mean, I'm not God or anything close to it, but Jerry wants another championship before he sees the dirt or something. You see what I'm saying?
Sees the dirt, says Moan. I'm looking it up here. He's 81 years old. Okay, Moan is forecasting dirt. Jerry Jones' future.
You.
Anyway, What else do we have today?
It's been a few guys come out saying a lot of stuff. Okay, him, Phil Knight. There's a few guys that's trying to see a championship before. I mean, come on. What were we talking about? Life expectancy here, DK? Come on.
Dirt. I mean, it does come for everybody here.
Dak is their best option, is what I'm saying, man. So it's not like Trey Lance is ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So hey, don't make y'all in these laughing emojis.
No, this is so bad. Look at some of these responses. Losing respect, cold-blooded, see the dirt, pine box, the truth. Wow.
But the reason I put up is
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Hey, the only reason I put that up, though, is I don't know what the plans are. If they roll out this young group and I mean, they don't play well, DK, like, we speak of what? Who was it that got hurt before Ben got drafted? It was a gift and a curse. Like, yeah, you were
Tommy
5
Maddox,
and 12.
Yeah, who still has not seen dirt.
Yeah, no, he has not. He's doing well from what I've heard.
Carol says, "Damn, Ramon, I'm almost 79 and I'm not looking for dirt."
You also ain't lived like Jerry Jones have, if you see what I'm saying. So you're good, is what I'm telling you. Golly, DK.
I do believe we now have a different theme for today's show here, because Alan Collins comes in and says, "Hey, Mo, I'm 66. Will I see a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh before I see dirt?"
Well, here's the thing. If Pittsburgh picking the top 10 and they get a top 10 quarterback or top 11 quarterback, it was 2 years before you saw it last time.
You think they're going to pick in the top 10?
So that's why I was going to next was this. When it comes down to resetting this team and getting to a point to where there's no long-term commitment to either quarterback right now. And you got a bunch of youth around except for the defensive side of the ball, right? So with saying what win and loss is going to be, although I believe in Coach Tomlin in the Steeler way, I believe in the idea that they will always find a way to get you above 500. Heck, that's all we got to work on right now, DK. But this year, offensively, just looks a little bit more bleak as it pertains to the weapons, the structure of this offense. Like, there's no veteran anywhere except for at the quarterback position. And that's exclusion, all the snaps that Najee has and Pat Freiermuth has. Like, as far as offensive snaps, you got Russ, who's new. You got Najee, you got Pat, you got Dan Moore. If this team is to succeed, the offense got to play its part. And if the offense doesn't play its part and we get Denver Russ, right? What if that's really real with Russ? And this is me honestly just playing devil's advocate to myself, DK, because I'm very optimistic about my Steelers. But here's the thing. If that offense doesn't stay on the field and that defense get grounded down because we somewhat aging in certain positions, it's inevitable, DK, that at some point the Steelers will pick in the top 10 again.
Dr. Shadow, who always hits hard, comes in with, why did the Steelers trade for Justin Fields?
You want to plan for the future, but here's the other thing too. I love what Justin Fields' journey has been, and now was it 3 OCs in 3 years, whatever he had. But DK, we seeing the same things that he did in Chicago. Let's be honest about that. So in a year in Arthur Smith offense, are we going to get a better version of him because he's in black and gold, or do we just want to believe that?
I'll tell you, I've seen things that I've liked.
Okay.
But I'll also tell you that every time I bring that up with somebody, they say, but yeah, that's the stuff that you liked. What you need to see from Fields, and I don't know that this is something that's even possible in practice settings or for preseason for that matter, is how he handles the complex stuff, reading defenses and making the right decisions. I'll tell you what, when I see him move with that football, though,
I love it though too.
I know it's intoxicating.
But he's not 6'4", 245, right? How many, like even Cam Newton, right? Even Cam Newton had to figure out, look, I can't take these hits. Justin is listed at 6'3", 227, give or take, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to be your runner, how many times you going to run him before that shoulder or that tread runs out though too?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, one of the things that has been concerning, even though it looks heroic when he gets out of it, is the way he stands in there. And it's like, dude, just take the L. Live to see another day.
And so, yeah, and here's the thing. I'm very optimistic about the Steelers. Always am. And I just had to have like some reality about it. Like, this is, if you truly are trying to rebuild, you do it with your own quarterback for the most part. And ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, look at what the Jets are trying to do. Correct? Like, Tom Brady, it took him a year to actually go get the ring. The ones that are winning Super Bowls, DK, are homegrown dudes.
Yeah, I hear you. It's just that those scenarios are so challenging to produce because you're going to be drafting around 20, 25, whatever.
I know.
Now, that doesn't mean that all great quarterbacks are drafted in the top 5 or whatever we've seen. Yeah, I mean, you could do this one all day. There's legitimately great quarterbacks that are taken late. The greatest of all was taken in the 6th round. So you can do it. But
Dak's been good for a 4th or 5th rounder.
And was good right away.
Yes.
That's the part that people forget about Dak is that he just walked onto the field.
Yeah. And Justin, Hurts, 2nd rounder. I mean, we can go through the list.
You can do it, but what happens if you run into a draft class like when the Steelers went quarterback hunting and we're talking about Kenny Pickett versus Malik Willis, and we spent 3 months talking about Pickett versus Willis. Willis just got cut again.
You see what I'm saying? Or traded. Yeah, traded. Like
traded, whatever it was.
He's not with his original team, to your point.
And neither's Kenny.
Nope. And everybody wants a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Lamar. Like Stafford even had to leave and go to another team, but they also said screw those picks, and that set them back for a few years, man. So Kirk Cousins in that conversation, but what is Kirk? Kirk ain't taking the Falcons to a Super Bowl.
No. What was that?
$100 million guaranteed.
Still. No, the whole thing, whole drafting, and just what an organization that is. You want to talk about, by the way, somebody who's seriously coming across some dirt. Arthur Blank.
Arthur Blank, yeah, man.
He wants it bad.
Yes, well, see, that's another one too, right? I mean, changing of the guard, man, is all I would say. Everybody wants their guy. That's my biggest thing too in all of this is I don't know if Justin's the guy. I like him. I'm hoping that he is, but that also means you're gonna have to pull what's his name? Jordan Love too. Jordan Love became a delayed starter, and he's making $55 million a year. That wrecks the Steelers' cap moving forward as far as trying to rebuild this team back up.
And yet, what happens to that cap space and everything? Because we all sing about it and how it's available next year. If you go out and get an Ayuk now,
you see what I'm saying?
It's that you have a receiver, and I don't know. I like the idea of bringing Fields here. I really did. I enjoy watching him play football. Yeah. That's what gets me out of all this here. Grayson says the quarterback position is such a pain. It takes a team to win, but you can't win without the quarterback. Yeah. The only thing I hate about football is the value that we put on that single position. But there it is. I mean, you know what's funny? When you look at the moves the Chiefs have made over the past couple of weeks, and you look at who's left on their offense, and you're going, yee. Yeah. And then the next thing you think is, well, they're still going to win. Meaning they're going to win it all, right?
Right.
Like you don't change your outlook. What they had to go get Juju. What's left of Juju, and you're like, I mean, they're still the favorites.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they got Patrick.
Because they got Patrick Mahomes. That's it.
They got Patrick, man, and that's the difference right there. Baltimore is cocky as heck because of why? They got Lamar, right? Like those are the things. Like even like I'll throw Buffalo in there. Even Buffalo without Diggs, they lost Gabriel Davis. Like that running back situation got to get figured out. But the defense grew up, and then they go get a second rounder, Keon Coleman. You know what you say? Oh, Josh Allen to make it work. Josh Allen to make it work. You know,
that's what you do. That's what you do. Frank says that Mason Rudolph's better than either of these two quarterbacks the Steelers have. I mean, you can debate, discuss whatever, but for this specific situation, how long do you think it'll take before everybody's going, I should have kept Mason? You know,
always that. And hindsight is always that though, DK.
Is he going to start? Is he going to start?
Nah, it's Will Levis. And look at you grimacing right there. But here's the other thing, though. Two Masons on a 1 year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like for us.
They'll never admit, the Steelers will never admit that they were wrong in keeping him in storage for 5 years.
Crazy.
Never, ever, ever. Eddie Carter, we're only going to take a couple more here, says, hey, Moan, what about the tape on Broderick Jones this preseason? I have to share with you, Moan, that when I was in Detroit watching Broderick a couple of times, you know, you can isolate on guys when the game is live, and I did that, and he had a couple of good reps when I saw him, so I went and I thought he had a pretty good game. I'm driving back to Pittsburgh and everything else here. I watched the game a second time.
Yeah, not as good as you
well.
thought. Yeah, I know. That's why I was waiting. He had a good couple of bounce back moments, but here's the other side of it too. You asked me what I thought of his preseason, hot and cold, more cold than it was hot. Yeah. And that also lends us to think about putting 5 of them out there, 4 of them out there as far as the young guys, right? Mm-hmm. I saw somebody a second ago, can we survive without Isaac being in? Yeah, you can survive. How much are you thriving though? Like, you're not dying in the game. You know, it's just a matter of what the wins and loss columns look like because of this group growing up. Now, the other side is this. They got to grow up at some point, and that's Broderick included, right? They have to. So this is just, these are the scars we got to deal with to get to that point.
We're gonna take one more here. I want to make sure that it's a really good one here. So I'm going through the ones that we've starred to see what's up here. Todd Williams comes in and says, hey, Mona DK, should there be a package to have Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren on the field at the same time? What's the benefit to doing something like that, Moan?
One, I ain't ever seen Arthur Smith do that in an offense, period. Okay, I'm just going to throw that out there. The benefit of it is, I'm going to be real with you, it ain't much of a benefit. They're the same back.
It'll remind you of 1974. Other than that,
they're the same back. Essentially, it's just one. I think Jaylen hits the hole a little bit quicker, right?
He does, and he's got a better chance of hitting the edge too.
Yeah, he's got breakaway speed. You know, there's no advantage, Todd. We appreciate it though, man.
Yeah, that's. I think you're going to see them spread out. You're going to see them alternating. I also think, to reiterate from earlier in the show, you are going to see both of them, including Jaylen, in Atlanta. So when we come back, we're going to take care of a little bit of business here. We've got some of that, you know.
Absolutely.
Man, yeah, I got to press a button here. Here it comes. So along the way today, we picked up, Jerry Jones picked up some strays. We picked up some gift subscriptions.
We did. Can I address something real quick too? I think I saw somebody say Mason should have played in his second year moving forward. Not true. Okay. He came in at 19. In 18, Ben had 5,100 passing yards. Okay. And then what was his other numbers, man? He still held his own. He had the injury in 2019, my last year.
Started them off 11-0.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
You have to, be mindful of what actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah. 33
Mason
touchdowns
made himself
that year.
better. That's to his credit. Mason got rid of the happy feet, made himself the kind of quarterback that he wanted to be in the NFL, and he's that now. Yeah. Barber came in with 5 gift subscriptions, as he often does. And John Sambatti came in with 20. That's a new name in this particular category for me. And Adventures in the Dark just chimes in with a can't wait for Herbig 51. And I'm going to ask you to leave everybody this week, a final football thought anyway, on what do you do with Nick Herbig? Can you get 3 OLBs on the field at the same time? They've tried it. They've done it. They've tinkered with it.
They have done it. He's going to flow. He's made himself more diverse in his rush.
He has.
And TJ, of course, moves around as he pleases too. The thing that you have now is you have a guy that you trust, and Herbig, that you can say, all right, if TJ's up the middle, we trust you to rush off the right side. That is a luxury.
That sack that he had in Detroit, Herbig, when he came in off the edge, did you see the move he used?
Oh, my gosh.
It was the Debo move. The Debo just taught him at St. Vincent. and it just like this. He goes right under the armpit.
So here's the other thing too about Herbig. To me, is there anybody in that young O-line group that make you feel like how you feel about him?
I mean, there's a bunch of them. I hate to say that, but I mean I think these guys, this young O-line group, this is not the stuff we were talking about a year or two ago.
Right.
Okay, there's character galore in this pack of players.
Yeah.
And that's part of why maybe it's just me wanting to recreate the Pouncey, Foster, DeCastro core of the line and say, all right, well, look, because you guys were all around the same age, came in at the same time, they invested all those draft picks, and then we got to enjoy the spoils of that for a decade.
Yeah.
Well, this is, see this, okay? Do you trust Zach Frazier? Yes. Do you trust Mason McCormick? Let's find out.
Let's find out. Okay.
I mean, I learned to trust Broderick Jones last season. He's in the past tense for me in that category. He's got an elbow. He's learning to play through it. And Troy Fautanu, I mean, look at his background.
I know.
So what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
James Daniels, all James Daniels does is win every snap.
Consistent.
So what are we talking about here? Let him play.
I'm with letting them play. You've convinced me. Roll them out.
I mean, I don't mean to change or try to change.
No.
You've heard me when I say I don't believe in somebody. Okay, you heard me.
Yeah, I have.
You heard me for years on Kendrick Green, including right when he first came in. It's like I had no use for this.
Yeah,
this is different.
I love it.
What you got for us here, Mo?
Who, me? I got. Oh man. We'll have to discuss this one at some point in time.
We will.
Rob goes, "Hey, Mom. So, what is the postseason locker room like? Give us some insight." It's just different. It's like the lights get dim. It's like the music get quieter. It's like the focus intensifies. It's the need to win and move on, and everybody understands it to where it almost gives you chills. To think about, here's a friggin' opportunity to compete for a Super Bowl, and it don't get no better than that because it's the only sport in the world where it's just ours in America, and we do this. And it is by far the ultimate focus that I don't think you've ever seen. Like, it's not a whole lot of going out. It's a whole lot of, DK, you've seen the locker room be different.
Well, I've seen it be different, but there's one reason I always tell people that I don't like calling, insiders and stuff like that. You're inside. I'm outside. We come in when there's an access period, and you guys can change your face and change everything, except after divisional games. You have no divisional games. Cincinnati, you guys are like this.
Man,
yes, the atmosphere, the seriousness of it, and especially and respectfully in the later years of you guys' careers when you knew you're running out of chances. It was like a life episode,
I ain't ever cried after game or nothing like that, but like losing those games, especially when that you knew that sand was going through the hourglass like that, DK, like it does like hit you different, like dang, like it's just over and that's it.
I don't ever want to see you again the way I saw you in Denver. Let's put it that way.
Oh my God.
And you weren't alone. And I don't even know that you were the most visibly shaken out of it.
It was right there.
You know who was really crushed? And I'm sharing this with you for the first time because you couldn't have seen him because the Broncos have this ridiculous wall that splits the room.
Yeah.
On the other side of that wall, Debo.
I remember walking past him and he just
you had to go there to get to the showers. Yeah. Okay. So you would have seen him. He just sat there and he was the only one in the center. Who do you think was the reporter, by the way, that was the first one to finally approach him?
You
know how dumb that was?
Yeah, I know. As people have these perceptions and it don't add up. It's weird.
I'm just saying that was such an idiot. He was great. Okay. He was professional and everything, but man, what a dumb thing to do on my part.
It was, man. Chris came in real late. Maybe they covered this with Roman Wilson. Just get him on the field and we'll see.
Get him on the field.
We talked about it earlier though.
Let's find out. Mo's got some parting words for us here.
Man, it's real next week, y'all. Leave them terrible towels. But to get the next week, man, hey, call somebody you ain't talked to in a while. Apologize. I'm sure somebody you've ticked off, they ticked you off. Maybe you called them to initiate that conversation. Buy somebody a random drink, not a girl, as that one guy said in here one day, okay? Have a random conversation, man. Love each other. Y'all know it's a crazy year we got dealing with, but at the end of the day, make it back to us next week so we can do this thing, good people, man. Hug a bear.
Hug a bear.
Bear. I like
All
that.
right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Oh.